What's up, everyone? Eli here. Here for a kind of a special video. This is a new stuff video, but what I have today is, in addition to some other cool stuff, I have a Grail, as they would say in the VC and all that. And you know, as I stated before, you know, something that's a Grail to me might not necessarily be a Grail to you, might not be a Grail to a lot of people. To me, a Grail could just simply be something that I've just wanted for a long time. It might not even be valuable. It might be something that, you know, you don't see out in the wild very often. But there's, you know, to me a Grail isn't like, oh fuck man, they only made 20 copies of this and, you know, now it's worth hundreds of dollars, or just something that means a lot to me and I just never, for whatever reason, got around to buying. But anyways, we'll move on with the shit here. I got 4 CDs and I have like 6 DVDs. I've been buying a lot of horror movies lately. Not that that's like, not that that's new for me or anything, but I've just been really enjoying watching movies again. Not that I ever completely stopped, but for a while there I was getting kind of lazy. I was just watching shows and YouTube videos and stuff, and I've really been getting back into the lost art of just sitting there. Put your phone away. Don't fuck with your phone for 2 hours. Watch the entire movie. Just get into it without distractions. You know, like you used to in the old days. And it's been nice. So, anyways, we're going to start off with the movies today. Kind of switch it up. I think I usually do music first, but we're going to do movies first. Picked up something here that I've kind of been wanting for quite a while. It's kind of a rather interesting movie. We got 1974's Dark Star. As you can see, John Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon, what a combination. One thing I'll admit, I didn't know when I first when I first heard of this movie, I did not know it was a comedy. By the way, it's like a sci-fi comedy. I just didn't know that when I knew very little about this movie previously, but they did a pretty good job. Whatever company put this out, they did a pretty good job. Got a nice booklet there. Nice liner notes in here, by the way, from Dan O'Bannon. Very cool, man. This movie's got a funny history to it. This was actually an art school film. Intended to be a 68-minute, I'm just kind of reading from the back, intended to be a 68-minute art school film. But they kind of talked them into making 15 more minutes of it to make it a full movie, and it actually was pretty successful in the whatever Sundance Film Festival or wherever it debuted. So John Carpenter, obviously, you know, from Halloween and The Thing and many movies. I love John Carpenter. I've actually been kind of collecting his movies lately, stuff that I didn't have before. So John Carpenter's great, and you got Dan O'Bannon, who worked on the first Alien movie. So pretty cool combo. I kind of wish it wasn't a comedy, but I mean, it is what it is, and it's a weird movie. This next movie, what a pleasant surprise, I gotta say. This came out in '98, so I was like 16 years old. I remember this movie. Pretty sure I remember it coming out. I've basically known about this movie since roughly '98. I had no interest in seeing it back then. To be honest, in '98, I wasn't too much into horror movies. Not that this is a straight up horror movie. It's more of a sci-fi horror. But I didn't have any interest in seeing it back then. The terrible cover and cast, the cast of actors didn't really interest me back then, or even for the longest time. We're talking about Phantoms. I'll admit, I have become a fan in recent years of Ben Affleck. I don't think he was ever a terrible actor. He's always been an interesting guy. But, maybe being a decent actor, earlier in his career, he actually became a very good actor, whether we all want to admit that or not. And he's became a good director. I really look forward to what he has yet to do in his career, because I think he has, he's done some great shit already, like in The Town and Argo and what movie was it? Gone Baby Gone? Did he have? He took part. His brother was in that, but I feel like I think he wrote the movie and directed it. I can't remember for sure, but anyways, he's done some gems, and I think he's got even more potential to do great shit. But what a cool movie, man! I gotta say, there's some definite Lovecraft influences, which really kind of drew me in, and it really reminded me almost like a love letter to The Thing. There's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of Thing references. Maybe not references, but just influences. This movie was actually taken from a book written by Dean Koontz. I've never read anything by Dean Koontz, but yeah, just cool movie, cool sci-fi horror, some decent practical effects. If you like The Thing, it almost reminded me of like The Thing meets maybe a little bit of Slither for humor, a little bit of Slither humor in there. Not as much humor as Slither, because Slither was fucking brilliant. Let's face it. But yeah, check it out, or if you've seen it, let me know what you think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I bought it for like $2. I just decided one day that I wanted to watch it, and I was not expecting to be sold on this movie, and I really, really enjoyed it. One of my favorite movies I've seen this year, whether it be a new release or not. Next, we have a cool kind of triple release from Full Moon. The Full Moon Company. What do they call them? I was going to say Full Moon Productions, not Full Moon. Full Moon Features, who did put out some of the Puppet Master movies, right? Did they put out some of the Puppet? I thought they put out some of the Puppet Master movies. Demonic Toys. What's that one vampire series they did? And it's just a whole bunch of B horror movies. More than I don't know about all of them. I've seen a handful. So I bought this for a couple bucks. Got Demonic Toys, Dollman, and Dollman versus Demonic Toys. I bought it for Demonic Toys because I have Demonic Toys too. I've never even heard of Dollman, but hey, I'm sure I'm in for a treat. Obviously, this was owned by Gerhardt, because I've said this before on this channel, but like back in the 90s, or apparently even in 2010, it was really common for people to write their name on everything they fucking owned. Records, movies, CDs. You go to thrift stores, and you're going to see that a lot. People don't do it anymore, but you're going to see that shit a lot. Luckily, it's just on I think it's just on the front of the case, and I can replace that. Nope. No, I'm wrong. That's what I thought. See, when I bought that, I assumed it was just on the case, but they actually took out the the insert and wrote it on the goddamn. Okay, whatever. It was like $2. Like I said, I just pretty much bought it for Demonic Toys because kind of a fun series. Definitely not amazing, but I kind of anytime I see Full Moon stuff, I buy it. Not that it's all great. Here's another movie that really I was really pleased with this year. Again, it's not a new movie. This came out in 2008, but I mean, I'm just talking about stuff that I've seen this year, and it's new to me. I've known about this for a couple years, and I finally pulled the trigger on it. I'm really glad I did, because I enjoyed the shit out of this. I Sell the Dead. It's got, what's his name, Dominic Monaghan from the Lord of the Rings series. Played one of the Hobbits. Larry Fazenden. It's funny they got Angus Scrimm's name on here, but he was like only in one scene. And Ron Perlman, as you can see on the cover, and Ron actually has a decent part in the movie. Man, what a great movie. I really, 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 really enjoyed it. It's about these two guys, Dominic Monaghan and Larry Fazenden. They are, this is like set back in the, 1400s, something like that. They're grave robbers, and Dominic Monaghan, I don't remember his name in the movie, I'm sorry. He ends up getting arrested. After being a grave robber for many, many years, he ends up getting arrested, and this is pretty much him telling his story to a priest, because he's basically, he's about to be, decapitated. And so he's just telling all the stories to Ron Perlman, who plays a priest, and it's just a great movie full of like supernatural fun. I mean, there's zombies in this. There's aliens. There's I think there's vampires. There's all kinds of shit. It's awesome, and really cool. Comes with this on the inside. It comes with this like 30-page comic book, just big enough to fit inside the DVD case, obviously, and it's really cool. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a full story here. It's awesome. But the further adventures of Grimes and Blake. I don't know if there are more comics. Maybe this is a comic series. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if that's the case, because if it is, I'd really like to get into this. But yeah, what a fun movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like I said, with Phantoms, one of my favorite things that I've seen this year. I want to say favorite movies of the year. They didn't come out this year, but they're still new to me, so it's almost like they might as well have. This next one, I gotta say, my spree of fun kind of ends here. Obviously, I was very intrigued by the cover, but bought it for a couple bucks, and it's not great. We got Lost After Dark. I mean, don't tell me you wouldn't buy that, in a store if you saw it. This came out through Anchor Bay in 2015. Slip cover. It's just got the regular same thing underneath. This is literally just a really lazy homage to 70s and 80s horror. Specifically slashers. Picture Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Kind of the storyline is like Texas Chainsaw meets Friday the 13th, and the protagonists that you have, and all the characters are. They're not great. The villain is lazily written. He's not interesting. His backstory is super generic, and I think that the team that wrote this movie, they'd probably kind of argue with me like it wasn't supposed to be unique. It's supposed to be a throwback, but even still, it could have been way better. I don't know. It's worth a watch, I guess, but I'd give it maybe a 5 out of 10. There are so many better movies even coming out these days that are in this vein that are just done so much better. It looks okay. The production is slick and everything. You can tell a little. It's not a super cheap made movie. I don't know. It just wasn't good. So me being a massive Lovecraft fan, I pretty much pick up anything with his name on it, which doesn't always work out. There are a pretty good handful of movies, made over the years that are, inspired by his work. Some of them are like directly inspired. Some of them are just, basically, some of them just use the name and completely change the story. This one's kind of along the lines of that. We got the Unnamable 2. I haven't seen the Unnamable, but it's an okay movie. It's kind of based loosely on the Statement of Randolph Carter, which was a short story of his, like a 7-page short story or something. Loosely based on that. It's not super. It's not super true to the source material, which many things aren't. With movies, we know that, but it's an okay movie. It's an okay movie. It's basically about this this evil being who's been around for thousands of years, and blah blah blah. I don't know. It's an alright movie. There's some decent gore scenes, and I didn't expect it to be amazing. Now, with the CDs here, I have, like I said, I have a Grail, so this is very special to me. We also have two new releases, two 2020 releases, which I was kind of thinking about the other day, trying to remember which albums I bought this year that were new, and I haven't bought many, so it's kind of cool to catch up a little bit. What are your guys' favorite releases from this year? I feel like I've kind of not really been paying attention. I knew I got the new Incantation on order, so that I should have that soon. There's a new Napalm Death this year, which I'll probably pick up. Yeah, what do you guys list like your 5 favorite albums from this year, so I can check them out. Picked this up via Profound Lore. Got Caustic Wound with Death Posture. This is like a death grind, like an old school sounding death grind. Pretty nice sounding, I gotta say. Pacific Northwest band, I think, was Seattle or Portland, which is my area. I want to say, shit, this band has ties to some other fairly popular bands, death metal bands in the Pacific Northwest. Kevin, what was that tape you sent me? This band shares members with that band, but fuck, I can't remember the name. But anyways, I've been seeing this a lot around on Instagram and stuff from, you know, guys that I know that picked it up. So I figure I actually just, I wasn't gonna like order or anything, but I saw it in my local shop and I grabbed it. So still digesting it. I'm not a big grind guy, but you know, it's largely a death metal album, just lots of grind influences. So that really does work for me. Also picked up the new album from Greece's Acherontis. Is it Acherontis or Acherontis? I always say Acherontis, but we got Psychic Death, The Shattering of Perceptions. There's the back, put out by Agonia. It's got a pretty nice booklet. Acherontis are a black metal band out of Greece. Started off as another band in, I think, the late 90s, early 2000s, and kind of splintered off into Acherontis. There's some nice artwork in here. Mostly just song lyrics, but there's very nice artwork. Lyrical themes with this band always seem to be based around mysticism and the occult. Nothing unusual for black metal, but whenever a black metal band comes out of Greece and I hear good things, I always want to check that out because I love Greek black metal. And this band has been pretty stellar, I gotta say, in what I've heard so far. I've been kind of following this band, I think, since their inception, so I haven't heard this one yet, but I'm real stoked to throw it on. So, my Grail that you've been waiting for me to kind of reveal, I got it from a seller off of Discogs in the Netherlands, and I figured, all right, I'm already ordering something from this guy. I'm already going to pay a whole bunch, in shipping. I might as well, if I got one more CD, it wouldn't really affect the shipping. Because once you're ordering from overseas, if you order, say, one CD or one cassette or whatever, you can get 2 or 3 more, roughly, usually for the same price. The package has to be kind of substantially bigger for it to cost more. So I figured I didn't want to just order one CD. I figured I'd probably better get 2. 3 or 4, I think, is where the shipping would start to probably cost quite a bit more. But like I said, throwing one more CD in there didn't affect the shipping. So I was already stoked that this guy had what I wanted. So I just kind of perused real quickly through the rest of the shit that he had, and this caught my eye. I remember that I kind of turned down this album when it came out for some odd reason. Incantation, Primordial Domination came out in 2006. I wasn't as big of an Incantation fan as I am now back in 2006. I liked them, but now I'm like obsessed with this band. So this came out on Listenable Records, and this is the deluxe edition. So it's got a bonus live DVD, which I haven't watched yet, but I'm stoked. I've seen Incantation live, but fuck, I'm always down for some more. So this came out in the era where Incantation were a 3-piece, and it's not the only time they've ever been a 3-piece, but specifically the lineup with when you had McEntee on guitar and vocals, you had Kyle Severn, of course, on drums, and you had Joe Lombard, on bass. And they had that lineup for, I think, like 3 albums. All Incantation lineups have been good for me. This is also not the first. This is the second album with McEntee on vocals. Which, I've said this before, but I feel like McEntee's vocals have just gotten stronger and stronger. I didn't know what to think at first when that first album with McEntee on the vocals. For some reason, I was kind of lukewarm too, but now I think it's a fantastic album, and I love McEntee on vocals. I actually, at this point, he's gotten so good at it that I wouldn't want any other vocalist taking his place. Like, he is the guy, I feel like, for Incantation for vocals. So, good album, man. I mean, Incantation, obviously, they're kind of like the AC/DC of death metal. They don't switch up the formula much, but if you're a fan, you're totally okay with that, and you don't want them to switch much. You don't want them to change. You know, you like the formula that they have. And I'll say this: Incantation have never let me down. You know, I have most of their albums. I'm missing a few of them, but I've heard them all, and I'm always pleased. I've never been even remotely let down. I'm always super stoked for a new album, as I am for their 2020 album that just came out, I think, the other day. I got it on order, so just waiting for it to show up. But super stoked, man. Yeah, damn good album. Now, my Grail. I'm not going to give it away instantly. I'm going to kind of see if you guys can guess. So, this came out in '95. This is the band's debut album. They are based in the UK. This came out on Cacophonous Records. It's not Cradle of Filth, if that's where you're jumping to, because the first Cradle album did come out via Cacophonous, also from the UK, England. This band, at least the singer, he's actually been friends with Danny Filth for a long time. They know each other. Danny actually got this band signed to Cacophonous because, you know, Cradle of Filth were already signed to the label. So they got this band signed. I feel like some of you guys are probably guessing now who it is, but maybe not everyone. This band, I feel like, is severely underrated. They are one of my favorite bands of all time. You know, they're a black metal band, but they don't sound like anyone else. You know, I was thinking about this prior to recording this video. Like what band? If I could name one band to compare them to, who would that be? I couldn't come up with anything. Maybe Bathory, but I mean, almost every black metal band has ties to Bathory, as far as influences go. That's how you know, that's how unique sounding this band is. They really don't sound like anyone else. Not a lot of bands can say that, not in black metal or not in any genre. Like I said, I feel like they're so underrated. There are some black metal bands that everyone loves, you know, Dark Throne, Bathory, stuff like that. Everyone loves those bands, and as well they should. I'm a big fan of both, but this band, they do have a very loyal fan base. They are a popular band. They have gotten, you know, fairly popular over the years. They're now signed to Metal Blade Records, and they've been going strong for, you know, pushing 30 years, 25 to 30 years. They've been consistently releasing music. Like I said, this is their debut. This is not my favorite album of theirs, but it is an incredible album. So if everyone's done guessing, I will just reveal it. We have the debut album by Primordial, Rama. Curious to see how many people would have guessed it. I mean, obviously this is not a live stream, so I can't tell, but I've wanted this. This is an original pressing. I've wanted this for a long time. It's not super valuable. You know, I think I've paid 25 or 30 bucks for it. I had to get it out of the Netherlands because there weren't any U.S. sellers. It was like Germany, and everyone was. All sellers were from Europe or, you know, just other countries in general. But so I do have this album. I have the re-release that Metal Blade did, you know, 10 or so years ago. But I've always wanted the original pressing. Just, I mean, you get the original logo and cover art. The Metal Blade re-release does not have. It's a different cover, different logo. Everything's different. And Metal Blade did a fine job at re-releasing. You know, they've been re-releasing the Primordial albums. I think they're done now, but they were like every other year they were re-releasing, the early Primordial catalog, and they did a great job. They were all digipacks, but they all came with a bonus disc, at least from what I remember. I think they all did, and it wasn't just like a bonus disc of like throwaway material. Like one of them was a really early Primordial live show. I want to say it might have been their first live show, but I can't remember exactly. Just a very early live show, and that was awesome. One of them came with their debut demo as a bonus disc, Dark Romanticism. That was awesome. That's the only way I own that. I don't have their original demo. That'd be something cool to have, the original cassette. But I actually made myself a copy. I do that every now and then with like old demos that I know I'm never going to acquire. They only made 100 of them in the 90s, and now they're literally just super valuable artifacts. I've been like, here, hold on, let me go grab it. I would never sell them or anything, but I just make them for my own enjoyment. So I kind of made this Dark Romanticism demo. Made it to look like the original J card and everything. And yeah, turned out pretty cool. But so like I said, this is not my favorite Primordial album. My favorite album of theirs is To the Nameless Dead. That's actually where I discovered the band. I wasn't familiar with them previous to that. And that is also one of the only albums for me that is a perfect 10 out of 10 album. There aren't many bands, in my mind that achieve that. So this album's great, man. Like I said, so unique. I mean, there are no bands that sound like this. If you've never heard Primordial, early on in their career, they played kind of a folky, Celtic influenced black metal. Like I said, I mean, they don't sound like anyone. But if you don't mind like a little bit of folk in your black metal, but you want something that is unique and it's not overdone in the folk department. It's not, they never go like all out folk, as to where like some bands, folky black metal bands, like the folk, the folk side is like almost 50% of the sound. Primordial is like maybe 10 or 15%. It's just there enough to make the black metal sound unique. And there aren't a lot of bands that have done like Irish Gaelic music. There's even some Irish, some old Gaelic lyrics, in their music and everything. So yeah, who's a fan of Primordial? Let's talk about it. Anyways, I'm a little off today. I had a kind of a, not scripted or anything, but I had kind of a rant, or not a rant, but I was going to say a lot more about this album and a lot more about this band, but I just don't have the energy right now. But yeah, let's talk about Primordial. Let's talk about Acherontis. Tell me like your top 5 releases for this year, so I can go check them out. What do you think about the movies? Talk about all these, and I'm gonna go. Gotta go take Louis on his walk. It's like 4 o'clock and we haven't walked yet. So thanks for stopping by. Cheers. Talk soon.